Hello everyone, welcome back to part 4 of the series creating a web API that processes images using the file system. Up until this video, the API does just that, okay? Now in its current state, the API is far from optimal. Every single call to our API controller actions makes a call to the database. For example, if we look at the CarsController in the GetMany method, here is an example of our call to the database, okay? And if we look at the ImagesController, spawn this, okay, same here, okay? So most of our calls do call the database, okay? Now once hosted on commercially available hosting providers, it will run inefficiently in terms of cost and performance. There are a few tweaks we can apply to our application to make it more responsive. In this video, I will show you how to implement an in-memory cache. Alright, over in startup, let's go ahead and configure memory cache. That's all we say. Alright, in the data folder, let's create a class called cache key. This class, let's make it static, and let's add a couple of properties. Public static string, let's call it car models, that returns car models. Okay, let's copy this, and the second one just returns cars. Okay, so here we go. Those are our two properties that we can use as cache entries. Okay, so over in the images controller, let's inject an IMemoryCache. Okay, so let's bring in the namespace and say cache down here. So we say cache, set it to the cache, and let's auto generate the read-only field. We come here, let's create a new variable car. Let's call it car. Alright, and down here we remove car. So up here, what I want to say is if, let's go to the cache and try get value cache key cars, and let's out comes a variable cars. And so what we say here, we need to import the namespace. So car is equals to cars dot find, let's say file name, and bring in the parameter file name, right? Otherwise, if that is false, let's go ahead and fall back. All right, let's go ahead and fall back to the database in case there's nothing in the cache, okay, or the cache has been refreshed. Okay, so once again, over in the CarsController, let's do the same thing. I'm gonna just expand this. All right, in the structure, let's add an I cache. Okay, so set it as the cache. Say cache, set it to the cache. Okay, generate the read-only field. Let me go ahead and create private method this, and we say set, and takes two parameters in sliding seconds and in absolute seconds. Okay, to the end, say, so now we can return a new memory cache entry options, and we say sliding expiration is time span, bring in a namespace from seconds, and let's pass in the sliding seconds provided. Okay, and okay, absolute time span from seconds absolute. Okay, oops, I'm sorry, absolute. Tap that. Now we can go ahead and set up our caching in our controller. So first here, we're just gonna say if, let's go to the cache and look for the try get value cache key car models, and out, let's get the car models. Okay, and we just go ahead and return the car models. Okay, otherwise, once again, let's just go to the cache and we try get value cache key cars, and out, let's return car of cars. And so here, I'm just gonna copy this method, this line of code, paste it there. Of course, I'm gonna remove that cars variable because it's already defined within our if block. Okay, and so here let's set it as car models for the return. Then down here, let's go ahead and set our cache. So cache.set cache key car models with our car models, and we set cache entry options. Now this is very important, because if you don't do this, your memory cache will run out of space. Okay, so you must limit your memory cache whenever you use cache, right? So that is cars, and down here let me go ahead and return car models, and that's it for us. So over in the get method, so we say if id is less than 1, let's just return bad request. Okay, so once again, I'm just gonna copy this line of code up here, Control C, and bring it here and space that. And the only difference here is let's just find a single entity. You say find C ID equals in the parameter from our argument. Okay, so that's it. And same thing here. Let's go ahead and create a variable called car, and I'm just gonna copy this method again and paste it down here. Okay, so the only difference here we say cars, nope. So this, let's go ahead and do that, and we say car, set it to cars, find car with a single ID that equates to the incoming parameter of ID. So of course we gonna remove this and then wrap this call and make it fallback value. Okay, so that's how you create a fallback value in case this cache does not check out. Okay, so I'm gonna just copy this method, Control C, this block of code, Control C, and over in our let's see, in post we're not doing anything here. So over here, so I'm gonna just paste that if ID, and once again it should be, and paste try. That's not what I want to say. It's down here. Yes, let's go ahead, and I'm just using my clipboard, and that's it really. Yep, that looks good. Let me just separate these and make things a little clear. Yes, that's good, that's good. Same thing here. So I'm just gonna, yes, try get value of that. That's looking good, and also make a check for our ID. So let's return a bad request, and so far we look good. So let's go ahead and create a set up breakpoints in where we make calls to our database, so that we can check if our caches are working. Basically, if we run our application, we should be able to hit our database calls. Okay, so at this point, let's debug our application. So let's just run our application. Okay, so that looks good. Let's just go ahead to Postman. Running, and it does take a couple of seconds, especially if you use the debugger. So still loading up. As you can see, it's still busy loading up. And the beauty is we can look at our diagnostic time here. Alright, here is our application. So the first time we make a request to our application, let me use Postman in this case. First time we hit that, we should hit our database. Okay, there we go. We hit our database down here, and we move on to, we just say continue. And now our cache subsequent call, let's press that, and you can see our database, we didn't hit a database. Okay, our breakpoint was not hit. Let's make a request to GetSingle method. Our database didn't get hit. Okay, so let's make a request to the ImagesController and request that. Our database didn't get hit. Okay, so if we wait for, like, let's say 60 seconds, that's for about a minute. Let's just give it some time. We should, our cache entries should expire after 60 seconds, and that means every subsequent call should hit our database. So once again, let's try this. Oops, we still don't hit our database. Let me make a call. Oh, we still don't hit our database, and that means sliding expiration has been implemented. That means another 30 seconds has gone on. Okay, so that's really how you implement cache. I know for sure it's working, but we've got to just wait for about 30 seconds. Come back here. Okay, it's sent, and there you go. We hit our database once again, and we say continue. But subsequent calls do not hit our database. Okay, so and that's it really. Okay, so I'm going to stop our application at this point. All right, so I'm just going to delete the breakpoints. Yes, we want to delete that. And so that's basically how to implement an in-memory cache. So we can have a real quick look at what we've done so far. Okay, we just simply added the memory cache here. All right, we went to the ImagesController and set up our memory cache here, and then configured, refactored our method to include a memory cache. Okay, in the CarsController again, we did the same thing. We did the memory cache, added a new method to control our memory cache entries, and went ahead and configured our memory cache in the GetMany method, get1 method. Posts not implemented in this video. Put, same thing, we wrap our calls and memory caches, and same as delete. All right, that will be it. Thanks for watching, and if you found this video helpful, please give it a like, subscribe, leave a comment in the comment section below if you didn't understand anything. Otherwise, join me in part 4 where I show you how to implement logging, because our application still doesn't make any logging calls, which is very useful for such an application. Okay, and we are going to complete documentation for our API. All right, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.